We're going sideways camera today, kind of the modern YouTube podcaster way of doing it, primarily because I can't reach my camera and looks to me like the cable that gives it power is slightly amiss because I have Puss in Boots in my lap. And when you have a cat in your lap, you're not going anywhere. Whether you have to pee or eat or get to work, it all suddenly is, you'll be waiting. Anyway, it's great to see you. Happy Monday. If you're watching this recorded and it's not Monday, it's like, you're wrong, Buster. It's not Monday. It's Thursday at 3 a.m. Then I have a pointed question for you watching this recorded on YouTube. Have you liked and subscribed yet? Why don't you just go ahead, take this and push that subscribe button. All right, that would inspire me. Anyway, it's great to see my Bay Area besties. Hello. We have a great topic this week, inspiration, and I just can't get enough of that inspiration stuff. And I think just talking about it, meditating, contemplating it, praying on it is helps us to all align and attach ourselves, get in direct, get in the way of that inspiration so that it moves in and through us. And yet, don't we all know times in our life? Have you ever been uninspired? I guess one word to sort of cover that state would be discouraged. I think discouragement is a really nasty conscious place for we humans, and discouragement, I haven't really met any honest human being that's never been discouraged or deflated or downcast, or they haven't had a dream or a project or something dashed on the rocks, and then we feel like a balloon that's had all the air let out of us. So now we kind of get that sense of deflation rather than the beautiful inflated feeling of being inspired, God breathing into us, God breathing in and through us. And so we'll talk about that. And, you know, that Police song from the late 70s that said, "We are spirits in the material world." It's so true. It's such a beautiful line of poetry. And we're kind of like little bubbles of carbonation in an infinite beverage, I guess you might say. And each and every one of us, once we were placed in this game, once we are placed in the infinite playground of being, we're going to grow. We are like sparks thrown off from a great fire, and there is literally from the moment we're initiated, whenever that was, whenever our own personal Big Bang was, we are going to expand unto infinity until our finitude continues to grow out and we become more and more, we fill up more and more of infinity, which is an odd way of saying it because you can't really fill up infinity. You can just get larger and larger, but there's always infinity left over. So with that in mind, how could it be that we ever feel discouragement? How could it feel that we're getting smaller or contracted? I'm not sure what discouragement feels like for you in those painful moments when you felt it, but to me, discouragement feels like disconnection, getting smaller, possibilities, promises diminishing and seeming to evaporate, especially when it feels like you have something going on, you've got momentum, and then the rug is yanked out from underneath us. So truly, what's going on in those moments? How could spiritual beings who are always unfolding unto infinity, how could we ever experience moments where we're getting smaller and contracting? Damn, we ask big questions in this class, but I think that is such a big question to ask. How come that happens to us? Well, one possible answer is that in some strange level, in some strange way, our current ego or sense of self has settled in. We have turned from flowing energy into agglomerations of rocks, and we get, what's the old fashioned way of saying it? We get sought in our ways, SOT. That's actually a word. I looked it up. We get sought, we get set, we get self-will takes over, and we refuse to grow. And because once we're in this universe, we are going to evolve. There is nothing that's going to eternally stop that. But as humans and in our mortality, we're going to get in the way. And when that happens, I feel like it's almost an exercise of self-will that's insisting that I'm not going to grow. I'm going to keep it the way that it is. I'm going to be discouraged. I'm going to be downcast. And these are troubling times for us, but I'm going to use the analogy of a volcano for my volcanologist friends. You know, the volcanoes in Hawaii, there's a couple of them. They're always flowing. They're always just spewing out a nice, steady state of happy new lava that runs down the land and crashes into the water, and thus something new is always being created. It's more like a steady state form of flow. And isn't that wonderful? But now, instead, you're Mount St. Helens. I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember this, haha, but I think we all remember when Mount St. Helens went off in Washington. Maybe you have some sort of personal experience, you knew somebody, but that mountain was dormant for 130 years. And then in March of 1980, it rumbles, and then it popped a little lid about a month later, and then it kind of went dormant, and then blammo, the biggest volcanic explosion in North American history that we're aware of. I'm sure you've all seen the pictures or know stories. But without harping on volcanoes too much, if we're dormant, if we're stagnant for too long, even if we engage in self-will at the highest possible level, infinity is always going to have its way with us. There is this eternal, literally eternal tug on us to grow in all directions. And isn't that a wonderful, terrible thing? But I'm feeling chills just feeling that right now. Last week, something happened to me. I got really discouraged. I had an idea, a project, and oh my God, I was just, Looney and I were going out of our mind. And then something happened, and it was like a radical feeling of discouragement. In the midst of the discouragement, as I always do, I prayed, great good comes from this. I am going to grow through this, and I'm going to see. And so slowly but surely, the lava's starting to flow a little bit, but you have no choice to evolve. I'm sorry, kids. If you're listening to this, you are going to evolve into your destiny. And if it feels stuck or contracted or discouraged, take very good heart, because we can only use self-will to stay small for so long before a power greater than ourselves will step in and open the damn thing up for us. So have a great week, be of good cheer, and we will see you tomorrow.